Okay, so maybe we're gonna start. So, first of all, my name is Magda. Welcome all of you to this masterclass with Amar. We are gonna talk something really interesting today, but I let Amar talk about that. I'm gonna introduce him a little bit. He's one of my teachers in the conscious school. We talked about the conscious school last time with Anthony, and I remember the first time I met Amar, it was like, who is this guy? Because in the first integration, I was like, what is he doing here? What is he saying? That it was touching me so deeply, and I could not really understand it. But now it's like, um, it feels almost like talking to someone I know for so many years, for my whole life. So it's really beautiful to have him in my life and learn from him, and also sometimes, not even sometimes, I consider one of my friends. When something happens, I always write him, do you know something? What can I do here? And it's beautiful to have him here, to have him share everything, his wisdom. Um, I'm really glad that he's doing this class. Um, and let's see what comes. So stay, because at the end, we're going to share some information about us, our association also. So if you want to know something a little bit more about us, we're going to be here. Also, again, if you want to ask Amar some questions, put them in the chat, and at the end, we're going to answer all the questions you have. So where is Amar right now? He was just here. I just saw him. What is happening? Yes, there he is. Awesome.
Hello, Magda.
Awesome.
Good evening.
Hi.
Thank you for starting this masterclass always so beautifully.
Thank you. So I leave you the word. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. So, welcome to this space. And welcome to truly something that nobody knows where it's going to end. So, okay, before starting, I would have a little bit of introduction for those people who are here first time, for those people who don't know me. My name is Amar, and I work as a facilitator for this wonderful organization that it is Inner Discovery. And I must say that, first of all, if I look at my life, I would never tell that I would end up here doing what I'm doing in this moment. And what I can say is that my life has had many different changes, many changes of direction. Even though when I was little, I always had it very clear. Let's say that life adventure has been always, and it's always being a surprise. And before the surprise happened, and it's still happening, what I can say is that this entheogenic path has been truly an incredible one. An incredible because when I was born, my childhood looked something completely different. And in the moment now, I find myself in a life that I never thought that I could have. Just because the idea of what life was in my mind could never bring me here. And quite honestly, this feeling that probably what I was expecting turned out to be a failure, but then that this failure would open the way for something that it's probably much bigger success. This was not really the plan. And when I say success, probably it's very important that we talk about what is the definition that I give to success. And what is probably what we offer in the end of the day with these retreats and with these possibilities to deepen your own process. What I consider success is probably in the end of the story just to receive more love, to be in an environment that you're happy of, to have a life with the people that you love, to share an intimate circle with people that are truly important for you, and to be able always more to let go, to allow yourself to be authentically who you are. And it's a bit of a conspiracy, to be honest, because in many different moments of my life came certain facts, no, just big surprises and big changes of direction, and I must say that I have fought a little bit these changes because I had the feeling that I had a lot to lose. So I was really fighting. But somehow my work was not stronger than the intelligence, not directly mine, probably of life itself, to which I slowly opened to. And so, yes, I could say that I work as a pianist many years. Music, it is still one of my greatest passion. It is my element. I love to connect with music, and when I go to music, I forget about the war that is inside me. A certain war to be who I am, to keep going on being the thing that I think I am. I can say that music is the element that brings me to my center, to my core. And it was not always like this, because in my past I've been studying around the world in different academies to learn to play better and better. And I was in Russia in the moment where everything stopped. I really had a big crash with some of the professor, and I did not feel recognized. I did not feel seen. I did not feel really valued. Mm. And it was basically because we have different ideas about how things should be, different conditioning. So after a few years there, I decided to stop playing the piano, and I started to work as a teacher of Italian language. Pretty quoted, actually. I was actually going to house of uh, yes, of very famous people, no, who valued me as a teacher, no? And all of the sudden, I really felt that I needed to come back. I really needed to come back to myself, and so I really decided to enter this experience of going in with the entheogenic medicine, and I found this wonderful group that then I can call family. Mm. And in this path, I can say that there is one process, one particular process that has given me immensely. And this process that I remember with clarity happened twice. It is the process of having a master. It is the process of recognizing authority and love. in one person. And I don't know why, but my life always moved very, very clearly towards this. I always connected very profoundly with men that were absolutely fantastic, fantastic. I can remember, first of all, was my piano teacher in Canada, who was actually not really just teaching piano, he was teaching life. This man never told you what you do with the keys. He told you something about yourself, something very deep, something that was so complicated. Then to go home and to breathe it in, it was always very confronting. And I didn't know what that was. No, I just was in presence of a certain energy that evoked in myself the absolute best. And I was connected to this love, no? This love, master disciple. And so when I left this place after a few years, then I met our founder who recently died. His name is Alberto. And and it was like, it is always a bit like this when you meet a person like this. There are certain people that say fantastic things, and certain people say terrible things about these people. It's always like this. And so when I met Alberto, for me, it was a big struggle in the beginning, because it was like really this big light, jumping in front of me. And all what it was happening is that I was blown away. He spoke about certain things that they were deep, sacred, secret, something that was moving my depth. And I can never forget the first classes. I mean, the profound shock that I was experiencing. And so I was already organizing retreats here in Germany, traveling around for the first experiences as a facilitator. But it came a certain point where I realized that this encounter went a bit deeper than I expected. And so slowly, 2 years of resistance of thoughts, I decided to move in one of the communities. Mm. And there, a completely different type of life happened for me. A life that was completely crazy because, of course, as everyone, I mean, I have parents at home and they have an expectation, and what am I doing? I thought I was free, but in the end, I realized that I was asking myself questions. But it is about this that I want to start, about the connection, that connection, master student, master disciple, because it's a connection that has happened in a very unintentional way. And probably the unintentionality of this, it's the most important part. No? And what is the unintentionality? The unintentionality, it is something very powerful because it brings authenticity. Imagine you are coming here, all of you, with one person here speaking, supposedly knowing something that you don't know. And in the end, all what we are doing here, it is not much. It is just sinking deeply together in a deeper place. So it seems that you came here to meet me, but in the end, it's possible that you came here to meet you. And that is exactly what I was experiencing. Through this presence, I was meeting myself more and more, deeper and deeper. And it was very clear that, of course, we are in a field where we are very familiar with archetypes. what is an archetype? Yes, we speak a lot about archetypes. An archetype, it's a symbol that is inside. It is saved inside. It's inside the unconscious. Mm. And an archetype, let's say that can connect to something that in the reality is calling, is triggering them. Yes. For example, in every group, there is sometimes the archetype of the father, the archetype of the mother. Yes. And those things, they are things that are born really in a very genuine way, like very innocent way. Mm. We are talking a lot about inspiration. Imagine, you're just starting playing piano, you go to a class, and there is one student that is playing in such a way that you're thinking, oh my God. You are recognizing all of this beauty. You are feeling all the notes inside you. And so all of the sudden, inside it can happen. It can happen this switch. It's a little switch. Click. In one moment, I gave him all the power. In one moment, I see outside what I am not. And I live a certain relation with this person that has nothing to do with this person, because this person cannot know, no? But this is normally what is happening with young fan of famous singers, no? They would give everything to be in contact with this person, and in the end, this archetype, it's a very powerful point, because actually the archetype, it is just an inner part that I project in the outside, but it's me. But just that part of me that I cannot yet take charge for. It's that part of me wanna be, or that part of me feeling that possibly one day I could be. And this is why this event for my life, it has been absolutely luminous, because I had the possibility to project all of this inner power to people that were loving and wise enough to have a bond with me, a real human bond, where actually I had the possibility through this archetype to come more and more in contact in this bond, but mainly more and more in contact to that potential that I was projecting in the outside. And I would say that this, in both cases, with my piano professor and with Alberto, I consider them the big miracles. And the miracle, it is not to have a master. The miracle is completely different. The miracle is that something in the outside created a condition so that I could rediscover the disciple that lives inside me. And when I talk about disciple, it is not something that it is not something that is shameful. It is not something that is belittling. A disciple is the opening from the soul towards life, to open to a process of discovering, of transformation, of learning. Yes, the miracle for me, one of the miracles was this. And and I was lucky, probably. I see myself lucky because I am aware what power comes with this projection that are completely unconscious. Unconscious projection, that is the unconscious that we have with our partner. It's unconscious. So what happens when we project something so important on somebody that is not aware of what we are projecting into them? So the awareness of the projection of this power, it is fundamental. The two people that were supporting me to reconnect with what I thought was lost, the two people in some way behaved absolutely absolutely wonderfully. And and this process is very has a lot of colors, because of course sometimes happen that we project on a person, and then there is a war, and then we do our best to break this projection, because a projection is always very confronting. Also, the projection is in your heart lives this 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 disciple that wants, that craves, that wants more, that wants more, that wants more. This desire to complete oneself. And actually, it is a challenge to live with this. And so today, I mean, of course, the premise number 6 that we are discussing today, because we had no method that has a lot of premises. They are 14, and it is really complex, the phrase that we are talking about today. I put myself last night and this morning, and quite honestly, I was absolutely devastated, because it's such a phrase that we can talk about forever, because one door opens the other. And so tonight I'm gonna share just some parts, no, just the highlights. Mm. And so I want to read you this phrase so that we can move then within and visit. So the phrase is: do not wish to attract or seduce, because the purpose of human evolution is to free you from masters and to conquer yourself. And so, of course, I mean, when I look at the phrase, first of all, I look at the verbs, I look at seduce, attract, no? And seduce, it's a very interesting verb, because I studied Latin and I remember a bit that seduce, it's been used now to talk about bring something to yourself. But seduce in Latin, in the classic way, it means leading somebody away, even leading somebody away from their truth. And so, who is leading somebody away from the truth? The tempter, somebody that is tempting. So all of the sudden, out of the blue, we come already with quite an interesting vision. No, the temptator, the tempten, the person who is tempting, for the Jewish culture is Satan, the accuser, the tempter. Yes. So then we can really see, I mean, seduce and attract. Why we need to seduce and attract? I need to seduce and attract, first of all, because there is something that I want or there is something that I need. No? And if I want this so badly, all of a sudden I can do something to attract a certain attention from the other. And then it's very interesting because all of a sudden we can come in contact with certain visions, like we see the romantic vision, no? The person seducing the other. And we also see, in connection with the master, we can see a potential master wanting to seduce students, but not to seduce in a sexual way, but wanting to have disciples, no? And something very interesting about this master field is that there is a certain difference between guru and another type of mastery, no? The guru, it is basically exploding with light. So you can have the luck to be around when there is full of light, you can receive it all, and then you can stay in the field of transformation. And then when the guru is gone, nothing is left. So many great masters did not leave an inheritance. And this is something that is quite visible. Yes, I don't want to make particular names, but it is something that can open an investigation really to see how this light was shared. And so there is something that has to do with another possibility. The possibility which is different is the mentor, because the mentor can have his own light, but he's supporting inside you the possibility to create your own or to remember your own. And I can remember very clearly we had one class a long time ago where I was still not completely sure about my path, and there was one of my friends who asked Alberto, said, Alberto, how can I get the clarity that you have? And he was saying, can you imagine now what happens if I will tell you I can help you with this? Start mopping the floor. So I'm telling you, your clarity is in my hand. I can do something so that you can become like me. So all the power, if he said that, all the power of the disciple is coming to him. And the disciple loses it all completely. And so what he responded said, there is nothing that I can do for you. So at best, by being here, by listening to this clarity, you have the possibility to remember yours. And so, yeah, that was a moment where I was comprehending quite a few things. That was a moment where I was comprehending, first of all, that I was in a place of empowerment, genuine, healthy, not in a dogmatic place. And so, I mean, this is showing something very particular in attracting. Of course, if we are great expert in our work and somebody loves this, people are gonna be attracted. I played piano many years. I played a lot of concerts, and of course, there are always some people coming very happy to just express the beauty and the fullness that they are hearing, and that gives me an immense joy because I feel all of this beauty, all of this thankfulness, and it feels like really being happy together about something, about beauty. Yes. And it's natural that some people are gonna be attracted, but it would be a pity that the person who is receiving it wanted it profoundly, needed it profoundly. It could be a pity that everything what the person wanted was the power of the other. And in the relation is the same. The person wants to attract somebody to receive certain needs, to fill a certain void, and the other person surely connects because also needs to fill other voids. And so after 20 years, they can look to themselves like, who the hell did I marry? No, I thought that I was with you because of something deeper, but I realized after so long time that what I really was in it for, it is because the limitation that I was and that I feel thought that needed this that you can provide. And this is why certain environment do not support the evolution. They want to make things remain in the same place. And this is very confronting, of course, because we have different parts. There is a part of the limitation that forgot completely who we are, the things that is needing, and the part of the potential that is completely sure that doesn't need anything, completely sure that the only thing that it needs is being. And so this is opening already a certain duality, a duality between potential and limitation. And we can really see like limitation, there is lack, distrust, and control. Think about it. I'm in a club, I'm all feeling sad, all feeling so sad, and I see something and I say, I want to attract it. And I'm moving myself for somebody outside to come close to me and give me something. I already lost. I already lost it all. And I'm trying to recover it from the outside. So there is really this lack. There is a certain distrust that without something from the outside, nothing can happen, and control because it needs to be in my hand. And of course, there is intentionality behind the action. Nothing is spontaneous anymore. But the only thing spontaneous is the need to implant a need in the other. So that the need that the other is going to have is going to come together with the need that I have of the other. And so who do I meet? If I come from limitation, because I already lost contact with my connection, with my potential, what do I find? A limitation. Of course, I find the same limitation at the other side. And of course, the other possibility is to connect from the potential or from the being, let's say. How do you connect from the being? With wholeness, with trust, and with freedom. The action that I'm doing, what I'm doing, is completely independent from the outcome. It comes from a space of unintentionality, and it opens a space of authenticity. Authenticity is a very important point because authenticity has to do strictly with the own authority, with a certain frankness, with a certain openness, with a certain transparency. And it is profoundly the deep recognition of oneself, being completely in harmony with what we are. If there is no authenticity, love is impossible. Which part of us can be in love, in the field of love, if we are not authentic? If we are not authentic, we lost it all before starting. Why we are not authentic? We are not authentic because probably in the mind there is the idea that if I was authentic, I would be rejected. And so because I'm completely distrustful about every human being, completely distrustful, I already prevent it before it happens. Let me just give you a version of me that supposedly is going to be more acceptable. It is absolutely disrespectful to the other and to ourselves. It is an action that comes from the deepest mistrust in ourselves, first of all, and then in the other, in life, in everything. Recovering the authenticity is healing. When we create these events, this retreat, of course, what is happening is a transformation back to what we forgot. And what is it that we forgot? When a child is little, he can go in a church and shout. He can go to a woman and slap her butt with full power. All the planet is intimate for him. Everything is easy. So we are talking about the possibility to remember what was forgotten. And coming back to the panorama of our phrase tonight, because the purpose of human evolution is to free you from masters and to conquer yourself. So, what is master? Master is not just a master. Master, it is something that is much bigger. Who is your master? What is your master? The parents have been the masters in the beginning. There is a lot of people that are completely, most minds are completely dependent from the parents. The parents already died, and somebody asked themselves, I wish I knew what my father thought if he saw that. It's because there is still ownership. Free oneself from master has also to do with B. So it's A, free themselves from B. Free themselves from B, what can be B? B is everything lived from the mind. A substance consumed from the mind, consumed from need, is a master. Dependence is being owned by a master. Depending from something can be depending from cigarettes. Cigarette is the master. I'm the slave. For the effect, I have a relationship for an effect. It's not nourishing, it's an effect. Free oneself from a master goes much beyond the master. Also for the relation student-master, of course, a master can be important for some time. Every master is important for some time. When you learn piano, you can have a teacher for a few years, and then you go on your own. The apple they are on the trees, they receive from the trees. And then all of the sudden, the stem opens and the fruit falls. I saw that it is not about master because we don't free ourselves from the master. Because the only thing we can free ourselves is with our disciple that we have inside. The process of freeing oneself from a master cannot be a violent process. It's exactly like on the plants. The fruit falls when it's ready. It is a moment orchestrated by life. We don't free ourselves from those masters, even though sometimes our soul is so impatient. The master that we free ourselves from are different masters. And yet we cannot really, take a cigarette, throw it out, and say, that's it. I mean, we can, but what happened? That deeply then one discovers, but wait, the cigarette was a coping mechanism for some need that I have, and now I stop with the cigarette and I start with something else. And so this is why we are talking about presence. Probably in this moment, it is not really about connected with the present. It is more about seeing the depth of my computer programming, that in this case has a certain process about me being something or me being in a position where some emotion need to compensate themselves with an act of self-destruct and release. So cutting the connection can give a periodical release. But until the root is not really comprehended, then this cut, it is just a placebo. So for me, this phrase, do not try to seduce or attract, because the purpose of the human evolution is to free yourself from master, and to conquer yourself, has to do with one thing. That unless you are in the condition to free yourself from the other who is ruling your life inside you, then you cannot conquer yourself. And with the other that lives inside you, we are talking about the inner projection of the relation that we had with our parents. And so all of these voices that are coming, sometimes I was talking to a participant yesterday, and he told me, I have so much thoughts. I cannot be clear. I'm completely suffocated by thoughts. Of course, one can be suffocated by thoughts, because in this moment there are some beliefs, very deep ones, that are pulsing inside. And they are calling for attention. They are calling for attention. They are calling for something. And of course, I mean, whatever has power uses maybe two different ways to control. And normally this is what happened to children. All of a sudden they happen to be in situation where there is something scaring them. So contact with fear. And there is something else, contacting with guilt. So in order to control, there is a manipulation. So the TV is like, the news is very good into activating fear. Is expert. It has to do with politics. And then whatever speaks from a religious moral can be the other power operating with guilt. And guilt, of course, is opening the brilliant door to shame. And so, of course, until when these parts, they are still pulsing and controlling all our action, how can we connect to love? First of all, we cannot connect to ourselves. And because we cannot connect to ourselves, because all this voice makes sure that we are not really existing. We are an effect of something that happened. Sometimes we are the effect of an interpretation, because sometimes we know that through our processes we discover that things that we really believed about our past did not really happen. It seemed to us that it happened, and it seemed to us that we knew exactly why certain things happen. But in the reality, most of the time, we come in contact with certain situations where we realize maybe it did not go this way that I thought. And it is just a second. It is millimetrical, you know. I have a phone in my hand. What happened? Somebody can affirm 100%. Amar abandoned his phone. Some other is going to say Amar threw his phone. Some of them more precise will say Amar let his phone fall. Some other one, they are just going to say the phone fell. Who is right? Maybe I am going to know a bit more what is closer to what I felt in this moment. But you who have seen it, it's more complicated to know. And so why the minds are so sure about what happened? In front of this possibility to start to see things differently, to let go of the past, which is not always forgive, because sometimes with the misunderstanding, you just realize that there was nothing to forgive. Which is an experience that I'm having now because I became dad of a very young girl, which is now 3 months old. So it's very beautiful in my process because I'm starting really getting deep into those things that show me that there was nothing to forgive. So sometimes there was a forgival, then now it's being revisited and, oh, I forgave this. Ah, there was nothing to forgive. So our proposal is not to repair anything. We don't want to fix anything. We don't want to fix an interpretation. We don't want to fix what is not to fix. Our proposal is to open oneself to the possibility to see something in a different way. And there is not a certain way. But as long as it's not being seen this way, the impact can be extraordinary. And so what is going to happen when in the mind there are not anymore these voices asking and needing and telling and moving, impulsed and moved by feelings that are actually having to do with beliefs? What is going to happen? That's when we are talking about mystical field. Because before the mind was very sure that the worst is going to happen. But when one lets go of the past, then there is the nothing. Why so many exercise to connect with the present? Meditation, I want to connect to the present, to be in the present now, because the mind is between future and past. Before the future can come, already shit on it. But when this space of potential and of nothingness. And the nothingness has the potential to become full. When the nothing is available and we can breathe in our authenticity, in our being, everything becomes light. Everything becomes joyful. All of the sudden, we remember that we were connected. Just for a while, we forgot. We remember, I was connected. I was always connected. Wait a second. I am already connected. And that's where love is. Look inside and realize it's everywhere. It's inside me. I'm full. When you stop moving frenetically towards the needs, you can hear a calling. It's the calling of your soul. It's a very gentle voice. It's patience. It's silent. It's delicate. It does not want to disturb you. It's not invasive. Sometimes you need complete silence to be able to hear it. And this is the moment where there is not anymore this desperate seek, but the song is completely different. There is a listening, and slowly this voice is pulling you gently towards love. Because the song of your soul wants to be heard. Starts very subtly, very slowly, but then if you do not listen to it, then it can become much stronger. It involves the body. It becomes lost planes, car accident. It can really become unbearable, that call. A call that wants to tell you, wake up. That wants to ask you, what are you doing in this moment? What are you doing? Stop. And and this is why profoundly one of the miracles that can really happen probably in a process is is to establish a bond with a mystery. Because a bond with the mystery, it's a bit like telling life, look, you can get creative now. There is a space that is for you. Let's see what is gonna go inside this. And in this mystery, the field is absolutely unknown for a mind that all what it remembers is the past. The mystery is a place that the mind cannot reach. is the only place where love can leave you a trace for you to find the way back to him.
I don't even wanted to interrupt. It was so beautiful. It was like, just say something, keep going.
I thought it was 1 hour. Last time I was really longer than anybody else, and so I tried to be punctual today.
But it was so profound, so beautiful. Thank you so much. Like, wow. I'm just in awe. Um, so guys, now is the time. You have him here. You can ask him any question. Or you can write it in the chat, or yes, write it in the chat is kind of easier. And it's really interesting because I was with the camera turned off, but looking at all the people, and they were like, wow, just no words, just really concentrated. You brought them to this beautiful space of mystery and trust and love. Thank you. So I
Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining, and thank you for being curious. No, like, because in a way, all of this space comes from a certain mystery. We have this masterclass at 7 o'clock. What can it be? And the spaces of mystery, they are very special. The only thing that I did in order to support this moment, it is I promised myself not to follow the list that I was planning, because I had a temptation to follow from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I really had this temptation, and then my jump in the mystery was in the moment that I started. I was like, no, I don't want to follow any list. And in the end, I didn't follow this list. Somehow I was even touching some of the themes, and I was even punctual. This is a mystery completely. It's complete mystery.
I can see all the people saying yes. I can see them. It's beautiful to see that. Yes. Yeah. Like there are no questions coming, so I don't know. Someone wants to say something. That's also beautiful. And now that we have the microphone and the cameras, maybe someone wants to ask anything, we can turn on the mic and maybe they ask how would it be for you. And look, someone, John Tonchi just asked what to do if we are being seducted.
Wow, I love this question. This is exactly the question that I wanted to be asked profoundly. Well, being seduced can mean being seduced by a person, or being seduced by an experience can be, or being seduced by a substance also. There can be substances that are very seductive. If you are being seduced, I would not do anything at all. I mean, in a way, the thing that wants to do something, it is complete control, wants to prevent something. The only thing that it's possible is to see it, is to see that there is something that I am letting in to a point where I can create a need, a dependence. And if you are conscious of the danger, the more conscious with the danger you are, the more free you are to allow this experience, but keeping it very clear. There was a participant here in this here in one retreat that asked me a question. She asked, she was really a bit um, with this attitude, no? And so she was asking question, and I said, well, I mean, the seducing game is a game. You like to play it, but don't forget what there is under. You want to play a game, play it, but then careful not to play yourself with this game. Because yes, can be fun, but when something more opens up, and then one take life's decision out of fun, then it comes to a point where it doesn't become funny anymore. You like mozzarella, you want to eat 5 kilos of buffalo mozzarella, do it consciously that you will go to the toilet and it will be very painful. If you do it consciously, if you are prepared to pay for it in the toilet, you can even eat 6. At least every moment where you are in the toilet, you will remember how tasty was that experience that you let yourself into consciously. So if you are being seduced, I mean, we cannot really say what to do. There is no solution.
Yes. Someone asked, what is the most profound difference between being seduced and being invited?
Being invited, like how is
You,
it?
you can see the question in the chat that is from Eric. What is the most profound difference between being seduced and being invited? Yes.
Being invited. mm, well, it's very abstract, no? Like being seduced and being invited. Being invited is completely general.
Mm.
Being invited gives you the power. Being seduced, it's like a Trojan horse. It comes in, it tries to come through the back door. Being invited is about respect, is
Mm.
about freedom. Being seduced has to do with the desire to take the power of the other person. It supports a dynamic of giving the power away.
Mm.
I mean, this is very general. Of course, there are many ways that one can be invited. So, but an invitation, it is really open, democratic. It is a possibility. Being invited implies being open to the possibility that the person will not come. An invitation doesn't come strictly from need. An invitation is symbolizing um, genuine wish, this genuine wanting to experience something together. Seduction, there is a bit of distrust in the fact if the person saw my true face, would not want to be here. And so I need to show him what he can get, so that he will not he will come not based on me, but based on what he can get from me. So all the relation becomes transactional and from an implanted need. So, and this need does not conserve the freedom. This is why this premise is a lot about respect. It is very cute to be giggling, to play silly, sure, of course. I mean, children, they become very giggling and very silly, no? Yeah, so it's different.
Yeah.
Being seduced and being invited.
I find the question from Furkan also really interesting. While saying we don't fix, I think there's a risk of not taking the responsibility of hurting someone in a relationship. What do you think about this?
Yeah. Mm. What can you say to fix something when you love? Nothing. But of course, it can be important to communicate. There are many ways to communicate that don't involve wanting to fix. I can communicate the way that it makes me feel. I cannot stop the other from doing something. At best, I can leave myself. So hurting somebody in a relationship probably comes from a certain amount of violence. It is because the violence of the feeling that I feel, I cannot take charge of it and I need to project it on the other, which is very human, which is very understandable, which sometimes, if we do it, at best, we hope that people can be patient or can have very strong boundaries. And that's why fixing, I mean, of course, I mean, Amar, I know it's very cute. Amar comes here and says, you don't fix anything because we are talking about personal life. Of course, imagine that I'm the main chef and I'm in a kitchen where the help chef is making a mess out of it, and in 5 minutes we need to give a dinner, then this is different. Maybe there is a supervisor of the whole dinner before, just checking all the plates before we are serving it for master chef, and then somebody comes and is fixing. So the professional, it is always a big it is a big challenge, because of course if a master chef stays there, the main chef looks and just because he loves, he doesn't fix it well, you know. And so, and this is why all of these topics, I mean, they are topics for us, because I mean, in our association we are both having together the personal and the working. So sometimes it is very challenging to mix all of this. And so this is why more and more and more it is needed sometimes to create spaces to get together, to talk and to share and to listen and to connect.
Yeah, that's true. And it's not always easy. Like, it is always navigating and talking and finding what my boundary was your boundary, and that's something interesting to navigate through. Has been my lesson. Yes. So the next question is from Anna. She asks, "What about falling in love? Is that agree seduction for both parties?"
That's a fantastic question. Well, falling in love, it can be completely involuntary. I can remember, like falling is never voluntary unless you throw yourself on the floor, no? But, so falling in love, we are talking about two people falling in love. Well, I mean, everybody in the end is very free to decide how they want to live and what they treasure in their life. Mm. The falling, at certain point, it means that you will need to stand up. Because falling in love is not love. Maybe it's a part. It can be a beginning. But falling in love, I mean, it depends. I mean, falling in love and love, they are such a used terms and marketed terms. We could speak about love in million of ways, and still we can just talking about everything but not it. The agreed seduction for both parties, as I see, probably it looks like more a seduction war. Yes, an agreed seduction. I don't know. I would not say that is an agreed seduction. Probably it is a space where people just allow themselves to experience what they are going through. But still, if you fall, you will need to stand up at some point.
Fair enough. That's an interesting reflection. So from the German team, they are asking, um, isn't the intention of the seductor to be called and controlled is not a game, or has it something evil?
Mm. The seduce is cold and controlled.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Well, evil or not evil, evil or not, probably is a bit not really conscious more than evil. Evil, the seduce, circled and controlled. Mm. I cannot see the seducer as evil. What I can see is probably that it's a bit confused. Or probably he does not have access to happiness in a different way. Because if you are seducing, even though you are cold and controlled, it means that there is something that you want in the other. The cold and controlled, they like the warmth and without control. The people that have no access to the emotion, they always end up with people with a lot of emotions. So more than evil, I would say probably unconscious. Even if he's doing an evil face, I mean, this is just, I don't see anything evil in a seducer unless he is playing a revenge against the other. Yes, there are, some people in their process, they had their problem with their mother, they hate all women, and so they seduce coldly and controlledly to give pain, to really have people suffer. And yet, they are just making explode all of the experience that they had. I don't see evil.
Mhm. There's an interesting question from the Turkish team. So, being authentic in a society is not that easy. The law, the rules, being a certain age that you feel under pressure, feeling shyness because of this, because of that, etc. Can Amar open the topic a little bit about being authentic or practicing authenticity?
Mm. Probably the only way that I see to practice authenticity is to allow yourself to experience deep bonds. Mm. And this is not something that one can really do, but it is more something that one can look at, that one can keep present, that one can observe when it's not authentic, or when there is a situation that is acting, that is like impulsing a certain behavior that is not sincere, that is not honest, but more than not honest, because lies are not even the problem. The question, it is really when we are acting from a point that in the end we come back in our room by ourselves and we are breathing and we are thinking, what the hell was that? It can happen, it can happen. It happens. It happens. In our retreat, we always notice a certain process of opening to authenticity. because when the participant come, they connect with this group that is completely unknown. And so what is happening, then we are creating, I mean, the medicine, it's some, but then we are really creating certain space where we are supporting certain events to happen, certain openings. Yes. So we are creating certain space where the participant very often they can see their inner light, and they can even allow themselves to open it with the group. And so this always opens a stronger feeling of authenticity, because some of the onions layers has been dropped, and so it is possible to speak in a more authentic way. Mm. And when we speak about authenticity, first of all, um, the question is, what is your lie? What is the lie that you're trying to tell? It's like, hello, my name is Amar, but what I'm really telling you, hey, please just make sure that you see that I'm completely different from my mother. What is my lie? Hello, my name is Amar, but what I want to tell you is, hey, think everything about me, but not that I'm stupid. Eh? No, so for authenticity, it can be very important to see what is your lie, and actually in the retreats we are really creating a lot of space that can really provide with the necessary tool to have this experience of carving inside yourself. And it's one of the most beautiful moments, because when this moment happen, it's crazy. Like, there is a layer of light that removes from the person in that moment, and there is such a field of energy. It's like absolutely expanded, open, full of love, and full of also shock, you know and you can see really the being, the glance of being of the person that this moment is in the dynamic. And so it is really something sublime when this is happening, no? This moment that the person, a defense falls, and there is this being that was trapped behind this, opening their eyes and afraid to look in the eyes of the other for 1 second, because something so real is inside this. And so we facilitator, then we are creating some dynamic to support this reconnection with the other. Yes. And so, yeah, this is the most, I mean, probably for me, it's one of the most wonderful moments in our retreat, where we assist to this phenomenon, when one part of the mask is melting, and the light that is under is shining completely. And all of the sudden, this disconnection, this wall that there was, is like falling, and the person looks at you in a complete open way, with genuine expression from the being. And those glances, they remain inside your heart. An authentic glance always remain inside your heart. This is what is writing inside your heart. There are glances that you can never forget, and people that you can never forget. That's why, I mean, the facilitators, I mean, most facilitators, they are terrible with names, but they can recognize you even if they met you, in Australia next to the kangaroo. They meet you, they can exactly tell you. They connected with you, they have you inside their heart. They will not know the name, probably not. But when you experience a moment together, it's a bit like you have touched something so deep in the end of the universe that you can never be the same when you connect with a person so profoundly. And this is eventually, it comes back to talk about, what for me is life quality. The meaning of life quality for me is probably this, is to really be in a place where there is enough authenticity next to me that I can receive more than I ever did. So come to the retreats.
Yes, I also wanted to say when this wall falls, you also see it in a person. That is like really interesting, like seeing the face is much relaxed. The voice is like, for me, it's always magic. When I'm seeing this in another person, it's like, wow, it's just magic seeing that. Yes. So
Yes, and sometimes, I mean, many people then come to, everybody try to convince you unconsciously of their own lies, no? I mean, and all of the sudden, some people, they really show they have a bad relation with themselves and all of this critic. And when in these moments that layer open, like all of the sudden, there is such a great power coming out, no? Like, exploding, all of this difference between one moment before and that moment, just this glance is fulfilling of energy the whole room, no?
that's true. And like for me, it's almost I can see the aura of them like shining, like really shining, and it's like, wow. I have no words to describe that moment when I see it. It's always beautiful, beautiful. Yes. So I think that would be for today. Amar, thank you so much for this beautiful class. It was just for me an honor and a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Mhm.
you, Magda. It's a pleasure and honor for me as well to be here. And yes, and thank you for the beautiful evening. Um, and yes.
Yes. Like, our association does retreats. I might talk a little bit about the retreats. That's our main focus. And we have retreats, I don't know how many countries, let me see, Spain, Italy, Germany, Belgium, Sweden, Norway, Romania. Am I missing something? Malta also. We have it in
Turkey.
some places. In
Uh,
Turkey, that's true. So we are really, really happy to welcome you in one of our retreats. I'm gonna share a link. Or no, the people that are here are gonna get a WhatsApp from me, and you're gonna get a link for a feedback. And then, if you do the feedback, you're gonna receive a small surprise from us if you decide to book one in our retreats. Besides our retreats, we also have integration sessions. They are with Amar, with Laura, with Anthony, with one of our facilitators. If you're experiencing something after a retreat, or if you have another psychedelic experience and you want to really integrate what is happening, we offer these beautiful sessions. And also, if you're like, I'm not so sure, what should I do? What is it happening? Blah, blah, blah. You can always book a call with me, and then we can have a 30-minute talk and see what is right for you, what could support you in this moment. So I'm gonna just send a link here for our next retreat so you can see it and just go to our webpage, read everything about that. And if you have any questions, we're more than happy to answer all of them. Um, so yes, that's what I wanted to share. I'm really, really happy to be here, to have this wonderful space with you. And I wish you a wonderful evening and see you in 2 weeks, hopefully.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week and catch up soon.
Bye bye.